Hey, Oz.
Hey, Curtis.
Hey, what movie we watching this week?
Instead of a movie list week, let's just watch NCIS.
Okay.
Plus Saved by the Bell.
Got it.
Plus Punked.
Yes.
And Wishmaster. This week, we're actually just going to watch Summer School.
Wishmaster.
Yeah. That's a really bad movie.
As opposed to the Whipmaster.
Yeah, not the Whipmaster.
The Whipmaster. The Whipmaster.
Yeah, the Wes Craven produced really bad, like, gin horror film Wishmaster.
Mm.
It was, I remember seeing that and I'd be like, this is fun, but no, it's terrible. Yeah, that was like, what am I going to go with for a punchline? Because
Gonna go with like a lad for genies.
Yeah, I thought about it. I thought about it, but I was like, no, let's go something like dumb.
Yes. Well, you nailed it.
Yeah, I certainly did. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, the weekly podcast where we take a monthly theme, this month being summer movies, and we're going to talk about them out loud.
Yeah. As opposed to we're going to talk about them in our own heads. We're going to stare blankly at the camera.
You guys
for 60
hang
minutes.
out while we think about this movie. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I am the other host, Curtis.
And before we get rolling, we will give a shout out to our lovely Patreon subscribers.
Hey!
Don S., Aaron A., Mandy K., Melissa L., and Colleen K. Thank you for your patronage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we keep building out this like growing number of female Patreon subscribers, Don's going to become a true Don.
Yeah.
Like,
that seems to be our demo right here.
That's right.
Women and mid 40-something-year-old bald men.
Yeah, welcome to our Patreon subscriber list, Don's Dames. Sorry.
Don's Dames. Well, the three of those four are directly related to me, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
well,
they're Don's, not yours.
It's there it is now. Sorry.
That's right. Oh boy, Summer School. I love this movie,
I know
that you know that
yes,
I love this
movie. You have a soft spot for this movie. I remember you talking about this movie like early on when we met. Like I don't even remember how, but I remember like this is a movie that you have brought up on multiple occasions about just having a soft spot for it. Is it a great movie? No. But it did have a huge influence on you. And
it really did.
Like how you craft your profession and
yeah. There was, I mean, pretty much my entire teaching career. When I was like full-time in the classroom, the last few years I was like district level stuff.
Yeah.
When I was full-time in the classroom, the night before school, every year I would watch Summer School just as a refresher of like, be Freddy Shoop.
Yep.
Mostly, not all.
Just as a refresher to make sure you ask Courtney Thorne-Smith to stay in place.
Right. Yeah. Do the positives of Freddy Shoop.
Yes.
Not the negative.
Yeah. There's definitely some things which I have a feeling are going to come up a little later.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Yes, overall, there's some great takeaways from this movie.
Yeah. So, being my movie this week, why don't you go ahead and tell our wonderful viewers and listeners about the characters in said film.
Yeah, the characters we got for Summer School. I'll start with the director, actually. The great Carl Reiner.
Yeah.
Is the director of this movie. Also has a cameo in the beginning.
Yes.
He's the teacher who was going to teach Summer School, Mr. Diradorian. Yes. who gets out of teaching Summer School because he what a big scratch off lottery ticket,
and because he has to direct this movie,
and that too. It's hard to do both at once.
I can't do Summer School and direct. I'm not Clint Eastwood,
so I got to write myself out really early. So Carl Reiner film. It's the lead teacher, Freddy Shoop. We've got Mark Harmon in the lead there.
It's the actual inspiration for the Salt and Pepper hit.
Shoop, doop.
Yep.
We've got the teacher next door during Summer School, teaching the honors kids who want to be there. Robin Bishop, played by Kirstie Alley, of all people.
Yep.
Sure, she was there. Also had a feeling that one's going to come up later. We've got Vice Principal Gills, played by Robin Thomas. He's the heavy of the movie.
Yes.
And
I think it's just Gills. I don't think it's Gillis. It's just Gills.
Is it Gills? Oh, yeah, you're right. I misread.
Phil Gills.
Phil Gills. Phil Gills. We've got a bunch of students, students who are in this remedial English class that Freddy is roped into teaching. We've got the aforementioned Courtney Thorne-Smith as distracted daydreamer Pam,
co-star of Chairman of the Board.
Chairman of the Board
brings me back to like when Courtney Thorne-Smith was on Conan promoting Chairman of the Board. Norm Macdonald was the first guest that night.
Yeah.
And just, I'm sure you've seen the skit, but
it sounds familiar.
He just would not stop, like, bashing Carrot Top and like to the point where she was getting uncomfortable and Conan was trying to buffer that.
Yeah.
And when Conan's like, so what are you here to talk about? And she's like, well, my new movie, Chairman of the Board. And Conan stops and he says to Norm Macdonald, do something with that. Like, like try to make fun of that. To which then like 30 seconds later, he's like, Chairman of the Board, probably spelled B-O-R-E-D. And then like Conan loses it. Andy loses it. Courtney Thorne-Smith is just like, this is the worst possible place I could be right now.
Her publicist is standing just off camera, like,
yeah. And it's like, she's not an idiot. She's aware that movie was garbage.
Yeah, she had to be. It was an easy paycheck.
Yeah, Carrot Top was the lead in the film.
Yes.
But she's the one promoting it. And
there's a reason why she's out doing the circuit and he's not.
And then runs into the buzzsaw of Norm Macdonald. So poor Courtney Thorne-Smith.
I remember Conan was asked relatively recently, like, who was your favorite guest? And it was Norm Macdonald.
Oh, Norm Macdonald's probably everybody's favorite.
I don't know if it was favorite, but it was like most reliable.
Yeah.
The person who was always on their A game and was
Yeah, and I love. I mean, Greg, it's the late Norm Macdonald now, but as his, a lot of his bits and stuff show up on Facebook Reels and stuff, and they're just fun to watch because the guy was just a comedian's comedian.
Yeah.
Like,
well respected.
Even like there was I don't remember who it was a roast of, but he like purposely just delivered these. Just like grandpa joke level, like just ridiculous, like the level of like, I just flew in from Boston and boy are my arms tired. And it's like every joke landed with a thud with everybody except the other comedians in the room that were just like, he is just manipulating everybody into this. And they were just loving it. It was fun to watch.
Well, it's like going back to last week's movie, Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
The other character played by Michael Showalter.
Yeah.
The Catskills comedian.
It's pretty much what it was like. But
I'm so old, I was alive in the Stone Age.
The Ice Age. No, I'm kidding. It was the Stone Age. It's so stupid.
Jesus Christ was my camp counselor. My roommate's name was Og.
And he walked on all fours. It's just so stupid, but it is fun just watching these comedians just try to crack each other up.
Yeah, more than anything else.
Like they really could, they don't get a chance to crack each other up very often. So. Anyway,
so we got Courtney Thorne-Smith as distracted Pam.
Right.
Then we have two best friends. We have Dean Cameron as Francis Chainsaw Grimp, as well as Dave Frazier, played by Gary Riley. Two horror film obsessed teens, which again I'm sure is another reason why you love this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I was never, nor will I ever be at the level of horror love as Chainsaw and Dave, but I did like those guys.
Yeah, very like, lovable characters.
Yeah, I could never socially find myself going that far, and even in fandom, I don't go that far. But it's like, those guys are they're my guys.
Yeah, they're your people from a distance, but they're still your people.
Yeah. It's like when we went to Baltimore to meet. To meet Bruce Campbell, and we were the only ones wearing polos.
Intentionally.
Yeah,
because we knew everybody else would be wearing black T-shirts.
Yeah, we were amongst our guys, but we weren't with our guys.
We weren't their guys.
Which is why Bruce sat and talked to us for a while.
For a little longer than everybody else. We've got Patrick Lebertu playing Kevin Winchester, a football player kicked off the team for quote-unquote being stupid.
Yeah, well...
Yeah. We have
It's called eligibility.
We have Kelly Jo Minter playing Denise, who turns out to be dyslexic. Actually,
and Kelly Jo Minter was the name I was struggling to find
at the end of last week. Yes. Yep. We have Shawnee Smith, the Shawnee Smith, playing Rhonda. She's pregnant.
A little bit. She's pregnant with 18 kids, apparently.
Yes. Very pregnant.
Yes.
We've got Richard Horvitz as Alan Ekian. He's a nerd whose other siblings were all straight A students. We've got Ken Olant as Larry. He's very sleepy in class, and I'm sure I'll leave this one to mystery as to why he's so sleepy in class.
Yeah.
And then finally we have Fabiana Odinio as Anna Maria, the Italian exchange student who apparently came over as an exchange student for summer school.
Yeah, that comes up later too.
Yeah, we'll leave
Do you think she was really Italian? Fabiana Udinio?
Yeah.
I think maybe.
All right, well, hey, Oz, that's the cast. What do we got for the plot of Summer School?
Believe it or not, this one has a plot.
It does.
I know, it really does have a beginning, a middle, of an end of a story here. We are on the last day of school, and this is probably the most idiotic administration that you've seen in a movie in a long time, as they wait until the last day of school to do a number of very important things, like notify the students that are going to be attending summer school that they're going to be attending summer school. So we see this like chunky cop, like the school cop, delivering just apparently invites with mystery intentions.
Why would you have your SRO officer tell kids they're going to summer school?
Well, he didn't tell them. He just gave them a letter that had them report to the auditorium on the last day of school. Yes. Now, meanwhile, it's the last day of school, like I've mentioned like 8 times already. When we meet Freddy Shoop, he's the PE teacher who's decked out in his hula gear, who brings his dog to school on the last day of school, and he's got the countdown going on like the scoreboard. Mm-hmm. There's like a minute 20 left in the day, which happens to coincide with when Vice Principal Gills is meeting like less than 2 minutes before summer.
It was a busy year, Rod. There was a lot of stuff going on.
This apparently it's one of your traditional California schools where like all the classrooms open to outside
exterior doors. Yeah.
So you've got all of these kids, which apparently there's like 50 of them in this auditorium, getting told that they have to go to summer school. None of them saw it coming, probably because they're all summer school students. Mm-hmm. Planning wasn't part of their future. And so naturally they're all shook. We are also cross-referencing Mr. Diradorian, who we see him furiously scratching off lottery tickets.
He's really excited to get those scratchers.
Which is comical because apparently if he doesn't win, he's going to die because he keeps scratching and looking up at the clock like like a bomb's going to go off if he doesn't scratch a winner. Long story short, he scratches off a winning lottery ticket, marches that ticket down to administration, and tells Gills, I just won $50,000. You could kiss my butt. I'm not teaching summer school.
Yeah, he's out.
To which Gills tries to threaten him with guilt of like a man of your integrity. He's like, exactly.
See ya.
Yeah. So the students are invited to summer school. There's no summer school teacher. Now, while Freddy Shoop is telling his students, hey, just here's your report card. Who better to evaluate, yourself than you? So, write in whatever grade you want. Like that's just the level of I don't want to say level of care of Shoop, but the level of what he thinks about the bureaucracy of teaching of these. We get the idea. Whatever. It's PE. Your grade doesn't matter. Just give yourself a grade. His girlfriend Kim comes running in because she's got a lay on, and they're going straight to Hawaii.
Yep, they're going to hop a jet.
It's a good thing he brought his dog because apparently the dog's going to Hawaii too. But we get kind of a comical bit where Gills is now on the search for a summer school teacher because apparently it starts in an hour.
Because the teachers are hightailing it out of there too. The students, you had your stereotypical, the bell rings, and students are just sprinting at full speed out of the building. But the teachers are hot on their tails.
Yeah, they're right behind him. So Gills is like trying to stop cars in the parking lot to like give last minute, just begging them to teach summer school. Obviously, everyone leaves him in the dust. But Shoop is trying to basically get out of there as well. He's kind of sensing what's going on. Gills, in a last-ditch effort, realizes Shoop's my only shot.
Mm-hmm.
Shoop's hiding behind the bushes now, but his dog rats him out. Wondermutt is the dog's name.
Wondermutt. It's a great name.
And so it boils down to, here is the conflict of the film. Shoop, you're going to teach summer school. No, I am going to Florida with Kim. If you want tenure next year, you're going to teach
summer school.
Yeah. Which, that's not how it works.
No.
No. Not even in 1987 is that how it worked. We figure out very quickly, if you have an educational background or at least familiar with how the education process works, you realize right now that Vice Principal Gills is just dastardly and no good. Like, he's slime. Like, holding this over his head. Like,
may as well have been, like, twiddling his mustache.
Yeah, exactly. So let's assume that that Freddy Shoop has just completed his third year of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume that tenure is 4 years like it is here in Illinois. So this is what you're going to weigh it on. Like, you're not, like, no, you can't do that. You technically you can, but not like this.
Yeah, it's that how it's done, folks.
So we have where we need to be, and this all happens very quickly.
Yeah,
we get introduced to all of these students along the way. We meet Chainsaw and Dave. It's like they open their locker, and it's a pretty cool locker. They got a black cat in there. They got cutouts from like Day of the Dead. Yeah. It's like all these, like famous monsters of filmland cutouts, Fangoria, etc. So
Fangoria.
But we get introduced to all of our characters very quickly.
Yeah. Which the movie does a good job of. It really lets you know who people are, who they are right away. They all kind of fit into like your sort of like high school stereotypes.
It's very like Breakfast Club type.
Yeah.
And I also like that they keep the characters shallow enough in depth that
simple. Yeah.
To differentiate from the other characters, but also to then give them some road to travel throughout the film.
They each have their defining traits. There's the dumb football player.
Right.
There's the pregnant one. There's the nerd.
Yeah, so it's like they have their reasons why. Yeah. Like, it's not just I'm a bad student. They end up all having a very different reason why they were not successful in school. And we'll get to all of that.
Yeah.
So, all right, so shoot, here we go. First day of school. Before the kids even show up, Shoop meets Robin Bishop.
The great Kirstie Alley.
That
pause said it all.
Is Robin Bishop I'm assuming she's a teacher in this school.
Uh-huh. One would think.
Okay. I know I'm pausing. I'm trying to form this thought.
Uh-huh.
This school, for the low number of students that are actually attending summer school, you get the vibe that either the teachers are fantastic or the school's not gigantic. I mean, the teacher's parking lot wasn't very big.
No.
And if Shoop is up for tenure, how does he not know Robin prior to this moment?
Yeah.
That was one of my huzz. I got rid of it. But it's like...
Yeah, they shake hands. Of course, he immediately hits on her, too.
Oh, immediately. Despite the fact that, like, 72 hours ago, you were going to be going to Hawaii with your girlfriend.
His blonde girlfriend was right there, yeah.
Kim does just go to Hawaii without him. Like,
yeah, true.
Yeah. But yeah, so he sees Robin Bishop and instantly hits on her. Because she just comes in and just talking to him, whatever. He's making a stick figure out of his name, like he's just doing whatever. But it's always kind of drug on me. I'm like, these two, I believe, are colleagues on the same teaching staff. How do they not? I mean, he acts like he's never seen her before.
Well, you do get the idea. I mean, Shoop has he's not the most professional of educators. So
no, but still a staff meeting, you would think you would at least see her.
Recognize someone.
Yeah, but he does. He's like, oh, Kirstie Alley? She's teaching like honors American history next door. Whatever. He immediately falls for her. She's dating someone. We don't find out who that is yet, but we do. And his first day is just terrible. First day is absolutely a mess. The kids take his car key. Like, they're just messing with him because they don't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there. They take his car keys. There we are. I lost myself in the notes. They're slacking around. We got one kind of not even a through line, but a bookend joke here. You get Jerome, who, of all the people that I thought would have been the football players, would have been Jerome. Mm-hmm. Jerome's like 6'6", like this
very large man,
very large man,
or young lad.
Yeah, I got to go to the bathroom. Okay, well, you go right on ahead, Jerome. We don't see Jerome anymore.
He does give him the bathroom pass, though.
He does give him the bathroom pass, so that does it comes back. So basically, everyone's just screwing around. That's what the days of early Freddy Shoop happened. They're screwing around. The kids can't get anything done. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He's teaching remedial English, and he probably needs it himself. And so, well, what are we going to do? Let's go to the library. It's
English. Let's go to the library.
Yeah,
they have
Pam,
books there with words.
Pam checks herself out. She's staring out the window because she's distracted. Pam.
Yep.
She's got to go. She chalks it up to girl problems, which understand. You go right on ahead. The kids call it out immediately. Mm-hmm. She's skipping to go surfing. So they all go to the library. The SRO walks Pam back in her bodysuit. She's wearing body glove.
Found this one at the beach.
Yeah, because why is the SRO at the beach?
They got the best funnel cakes there,
I guess, in his uniform. This is his lunch hour. He hangs 10 on his lunch hour. But so Shoop's just like, he's at a loss. What are we gonna do? We've got all summer. I don't know what I'm doing. What are we gonna do? Someone's like, well, let's take some field trips. And so we get this fun little thing where Chainsaw's got 2 or 3 years worth of field trip slips.
Yep.
He had a lot of field trip forms.
That was a thick stack he pulled out of there.
How many field trips does the standard student go on at this school? So they decide, let's go on some field trips. So they're getting ready to go on field trips. Again, as we're meeting these, we, like you'd mentioned before, they establish where everyone's at. Denise, she struggles because she can't read. Eakin's just not a strong student. Like you said, Rhonda's pregnant. Kevin is just a jock that struggles in school. Everyone's but they all get along, which is nice. Yeah. Everybody really does pal up. Nobody, I mean, they all come from different walks of life, but you would even think Chainsaw and Dave would be super aggressive towards Alan, and they're totally supporting everything that he's onto. So before they start heading out on field trips, they do get a foreign exchange student on the second day of summer school. Gills walks her in, which I love this movie. And honestly, this episode is probably the worst thing I could do for my love of this movie because it causes me to think about it. Something I don't do when I'm watching this film. But we do find out, of course, that Robin is dating Gills.
Yep, they're together.
So
another reason to not like the dastardly Gills.
Yeah, Gills. Now I know it's remedial English, and she's a foreign exchange student from Italy. So obviously, it's going to benefit her to learn a little bit of English. Her English wasn't terrible, but if you're going to bring a foreign exchange student in to a school the second day of summer school, and you have 2 doors to walk through, one is honors American history taught by your girlfriend.
Yeah.
2, remedial English taught by a failure of a PE teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk her through that door?
Yep.
Like, this is the experience you want her to have?
Well, the irony is, like, these exchange programs, they mandate that, at least in my experience, they mandate that they're in some kind of American history class. Like, it's just part of the program. Like, I mean, part of it's just common sense too. Like, why would you go to another country to not learn about their history and culture?
Now, how crazy would it be if the changing of the criteria to mandating an American history course all stemmed because of how Gills handled Anna Maria?
It all goes back to 1987 summer school.
Somebody was watching this movie back in the late 80s and had the same question we're having right now. And then luckily he worked for like the National Foreign Exchange Program and brought it up. Like, I just watched this
documentary.
Just saw a documentary on summer school usage, and I think we need to add this.
We need to make some tweaks here, Kevin.
No, that would be great to track that back, to be like, American history was not mandated for foreign exchange students in the United States until the release of Carl Reiner's Summer School.
Until Mark Harmon's Summer School.
Oh man, that would be awesome. So,
and prior to that, they all went into remedial English.
Yeah, that's right. No matter how good your English was, you're going to English.
It's 1984, folks. You're an exchange student in America. You're going into remedial English.
It's our national language. You got to learn it. So Anna Maria's there. We get a bunch of like fun. Like, they go to the petting zoo.
Yeah, amusement park.
Yeah, they go to amusement park. They go to a beach. This was kind of a fun scene. Go to a beach, and Anna Maria, of course, it's like her third day in the States, and she packed a bikini.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah, going on a field trip.
Yeah. Right. So she takes off, her like clothing.
Yeah.
And Chainsaw and Dave are just like beside themselves, which is also kind of a fun dynamic because these two are pure best friends.
Yeah.
And at no point did they try and compete over Anna Maria.
No,
they both realized, we both benefit from this. So she takes off her clothing to reveal she's not showing anything inappropriately, but it's a very skimpy bikini.
Yeah.
To which they're just gushing over themselves. To which then she reaches back and undoes her top, to which then Denise shows up. Oh, girl, this is the French Riviera.
Yeah.
Which she's from Italy, so I don't know if she understood that reference. But yeah, she was ready to just bear it all, to which cut back to Chainsaw and Dave. And just like, just heartbroken. Like, we didn't even ask for this, and it was about to hit us.
I love remedial English.
That's great. So all the fun comes to an end when Ekian's grandma brings him into Gills's office and says that she found like goat hair on his clothing and he's got allergies, which then Gills, investigates, finds out they've just been basically wasting their time at summer school, and he threatens to fire Shoop.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to get tenure if you don't straighten this up.
Well, it's not just straighten this up. It's they all have to pass the English proficiency exam.
Yes.
So it's not just like, you got to like get them back in the classroom. No, every one of these kids in remedial English must not just pass the class, but pass a proficiency exam.
I also like to think that the Bush administration saw this movie and decided to throw No Child Left Behind into the works.
So, yes, this movie has a long-standing influence. It influenced exchange programs. It influenced 2001's No Child Left Behind Act.
It took them 14 years to get the language there, but I think it did. I think it did. I think it was the inspiration for that.
That would really explain a lot, and something tells me that there's probably a little more truth in there than we like.
So Shoop shows up basically with this ultimatum, another ultimatum. Gills just keeps extending the finish line of this race. So Shoop comes out. He's like, "Guys, we all got to pass." And the kids are just like, "Screw that! Like, no, we're not doing that." To which Ekian hops up, being the master negotiator he is apparently, and basically says, if we give you our attention, you got to give us something in exchange. And so Shoop agrees. Okay. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here because we got a lot. Yeah. We basically break from the classroom to hit this long wind montage. Yeah. I mean, it's not the montage type that we love, but it's a series of scenes that establish all of these favors that he's doing. So Denise can't pass the driving test for anything. So he's giving Denise a series of driving lessons. Rhonda doesn't have anybody to go to Lamaze with her, including her parents. Yeah. So he decides, okay, I'll be your Lamaze coach. He goes out on the gridiron with Kevin. Even though Kevin seemed to be okay with football, it was academics that struggled. Kevin still wants to go knock the teacher out. So they're doing football lessons. Ekian doesn't want anything other than just to see everybody else get a favor. We find out why Larry is having... we don't find out yet. Larry gets a bed. That's all Larry wants is a bed. Which Larry doesn't even say that. I think Ekian speaks for him. Dave and Chainsaw, they just want rides to school. Because there's two of them, they get two favors. Yeah. That's their motto. So Dave and Chainsaw want to throw a party at his house, and they want him to give them rides to school. Yeah, a party at Shoop's house. Yes. We want to throw a party at our teacher's house. Yep, that's what we want to do. Mm-hmm. To which he concedes and says, yes, we could do that. Ask Pam. Pam's like, I'll let you know when the time's right. Yeah. All right, weirdo. So we get we get some more study times. Shoop starts to realize, we can kind of do this. Like he goes to Robin. He's like, how do you teach? How do you teach? You think he would have learned that, through his professional journey. No. How do you teach? So while he's hitting on her. So she's like, we can meet for this, but it's not a date. He's like, fair enough. So basically she very easily could have just said, make it relatable and fun. Mm-hmm. And then go on. But no, we got to have a scene where they're flirty and actually getting along, whatever. So I will admit, I've been inspired to do this from this movie. When I taught junior high language arts, I would do a series of formal letter writing units and then my kids would pick a company and write a letter to them, basically just trying to get some swag. Yeah. And so it's trite and old hat, but whatever. So Chainsaw, they watch a viewing of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in class because why not? His glasses break. So then he encourages them, hey, well, let's write a letter. Write a letter to the company. A big letter writing campaign. So, and he ends up getting a donut box full of sunglasses. They're not even addressed. It's just dropped it off at the school. Showed up for you. So everybody got some sunglasses out of it. It was just the light bulbs are starting to flicker for everybody. Mm-hmm. I was looking at the time and realized I'm really going. If I learn how to do stuff, I might get stuff. Yeah. Wow. This is kind of cool. So they're all working, the kid, it's a school movie. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of studying. There's a lot of back and forth with this trade. Shoop's out riding his roller skates on the beach with Wonder Mutt topless. Yeah. Because Wonder Mutt was also topless. Yeah, Wonder Mutt. Yeah, everything was hanging out. Put the adjective in the wrong spot there. And he comes across Chainsaw and Dave drinking. Yeah, and the police stop Chainsaw and Dave for drinking. Just as Shoop rides up topless on his roller skates. To which these two boys are underage. The cops are going to arrest them, and and Shoop does a solid for him. Is like, that's my alcohol. They were holding my alcohol, you know, because Chainsaw's giving him the eye, like, come on, man,
like, helpless.
Yeah, I can't get in trouble. So Shoop takes the fall for it, and they do arrest him for it.
Yeah, he gets arrested and brought down to he gets put in the local clink.
Yeah, for having a dog on the beach is why they arrest him. You know, because the boys run off and Shoop's like, nice job, officers. You know, like, thanks for playing along. And they're like, well, you're under arrest for contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
Yeah.
And they're like, guys, that's not my alcohol. That was their alcohol. I said, was that your dog? Yeah. No dogs on the beach. Like, so they throw him in jail for having his dog on the beach. Very strict SoCal police officers.
We got to arrest him for something.
So he doesn't know what to do. So he calls Robin. Can you bail me out? Because again, he's topless on roller skates at the jail. He's got one of those headphones on that have the radio on them. And
what happened to Wonder Mutt?
Pound.
he hopped on the same flight to Hawaii with
the
blonde.
He met up with Kim. So he calls Robin. She and Gills are on their way out. Can you bail me out? We're on our way out. Gills jumps on the phone. They hang up the phone like twice in this scene, but apparently pick it up quickly enough that it didn't actually disconnect the call. Yeah. But anyway, they go bail him out. And this is where the facade comes crumbling down for Phil Gills. As when they bail him out, Gills doesn't realize Robin is like right behind him as he's just completely berating Shoop.
Yeah.
Telling him he's a failure. These kids are a failure. They're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to amount to anything. Just slamming him left, right, and center. Turns around, sees her, and just snaps right back into Mr. Charming.
Yep.
And I like her, I like her line, why don't you go order food for two and eat them both, one for each side of your face. I was like, ooh, sick burn, Kirstie Alley.
Try pulling that on Ted Danson.
Not going to happen. So she realized he's two-faced. So Gills is pretty much out of the picture now, leaving, poor Robin's love life up in the air. I wonder who's going to save the day there.
Poor Robin.
Shoop apparently this goes from earlier in one of the bits we saw him go to a strip club for female patrons, and he's acting as if he is a reporter for Playgirl magazine.
If I had a nickel for every time I pulled that line.
So Shoop is going to basically a like low-level Chippendale show.
Yes.
To pick up women. Because he's figuring, you're here, you're getting aroused, you're not going to end up with the eye candy on the stage. Maybe I can get a chance. I get the feeling, I don't know how loyal to Kim Shoop is or was.
I get the feeling it wasn't a very serious relationship.
I don't think so either. But let's go to Hawaii together.
Yeah.
So school pays well. Although they are in California, it's not as far of a flight. So come to find out that the stripper that all these women are going nuts for is Larry.
Yep.
Who has lied about his age. And this was the favor that Larry wanted. Aside from the bed of keep this quiet, man. Like, I make good money doing this. I'm good at it. And they all think I'm, 21 or whatever. Shortly after Shoop gets, busted out of jail. Once he gets bailed out, we find out he comes to class one day and Larry's like wide awake. It's like, Larry, what happened? Well, Larry lost his job as a stripper because his mom and his aunt were at the show. Didn't recognize him because, he just had on like a Zorro mask and you can't see through that.
No, I can't tell anything by that.
Said his mom was shoving money in his G-string and his aunt gave him like a French kiss. Oh, man. So
also, if I had a nickel for every time.
Thanks, Patreon subscriber. Oh, man. So he's got a class full of alert students now.
They're all there, ready to learn, engaged.
We got to Pam's part yet? Yes, we have. Pam revealed her wish is that she's staying with her brother and sister-in-law, and they're like litter of children.
Mm.
And so there's no room. So her wish is, I need a place to stay. And he agrees.
Yeah.
You could stay with me, but it's temporary. Oh, Freddy Shoop.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Nope. Especially
when initially, I think she wanted a little bit more than a place to stay, too.
Yeah. Very, very much so. She's calling him Freddy, and in an effort to learn how to teach better, he invites Robin over, and basically to Pam, Freddy was my future, But Freddy, it's like, you're my indentured servant in a way. Like, I'll let you stay here. But so Robin comes over as Pam's like made dinner. She's irritated with him. Freddy, why didn't you tell me you were having company? It's like, it's my least favorite part of this movie.
It's pretty cringy.
Super uncomfortable. And so that ends. We're all full speed ahead. Like, she's super mad at him, by the way. Pam is, but she's a moody teenage girl. So what are you going to do? Shoop shows up to class. Everybody's had their first like wish granted, and they're like, "You got more favors, man. Like, you want us to keep going? We need more favors." So Shoop's had enough. Yeah, he's like throws the book against the wall, and he's like, "I'm out. You guys do what you're gonna do." Yeah,
just walks out.
Yeah. Then we get to my favorite scene of the movie.
I had a feeling this would come
up. It's my favorite scene of the movie. Gills is bringing the substitute teacher in, and she's very non-Shoopish. She's probably going to be much more effective than he ever was.
Very proper. She's a proper educator.
Yes, I could see that for sure. And she walks, or before she even gets there, Denise comes running out, just covered in blood. To which Gills goes, "Whose blood is that?" Not even, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. Whose blood is that?
Whose blood is that? I don't know. And so they go inside. Well, like we'd mentioned several times before, Chainsaw and Dave are horror fans.
Yes, and this was horror fans.
And there's been a few incidents already where they've used some like foam latex to create some special effects.
They made mention of Rick Baker by name.
Yeah, they did. And so they get it, like they walk in, and it's just this massacre zone. Like, everybody is dead. Everybody has some like extremely gory piece. Like, somebody's fingers in the pencil sharpener. Someone had like swallowed a ruler lengthwise. Larry gets his tongue torn out. Like, somebody's hung from the ceiling. Like, it's pretty, or it's Anna Maria. Anna Maria's been hung from the ceiling. And then Chainsaw and Dave come jumping in from the other entrance to the room, and they've got a chainsaw, and and the new teacher is, everywhere she looks, she's just screaming. Like, because she is just so, my favorite part of this whole scene, aside from all the effects, is as she's screaming, you can see Gills behind her, and he's just smiling. Like,
he knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah, he knows exactly what's going on, and he's borderline impressed.
Yeah,
with the effort they put into this, and so it cracks me up every time, because they don't really cut to him; you just see him in the background. So she obviously runs off. "I'm not ready for high school," or something like that. And they, still in all their makeup, they know exactly where Shoop is. Apparently, they go straight to the beach. And okay, we concede. Yeah. Like, let's do this.
Let's learn something.
Yeah. So hit the music.
Learning montage.
And so we take the test.
Yeah.
That's really, I mean, we're in Act 3 now, hardcore. They take the test, including Jerome, who's been in the bathroom since day one, wraps back around to where he's back. He's like, "Well, where you been?" My zipper got stuck. I just envisioned Jerome,
hands of the bathroom pass back.
Yeah. It was kind of a funny gag. Yeah. So test is going fine. Gills is there. You know, Shoop is there. Like, it's the test. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to. Rhonda goes into labor. So she obviously leaves to go have a child. Test is over. Results come back immediately. Apparently.
Well, there's kind of it's interesting. Like, they don't really say how much time has passed because like they cut to like they're all gathered together. Rhonda's no longer pregnant.
No. She gave the baby up for adoption. But yeah, like she had the kid, and yeah, and plus knowing the turnaround of standardized tests, it's probably especially in the 80s where everything was hand scored. Like, this was probably weeks later.
Yeah, it had to be weeks later.
Yeah.
Though they never really said. They never gave any kind of indication as to how much time passed.
And so everybody comes back, and Gills is beside himself because he is certain that we're going to get rid of Shoop.
Yep.
This is going to be great. The principal Kelvin is going, like, Gills is going over the results. Kelvin's going over the results. They're both, you know, and they're sharing, like, this is what they scored the first time. This is what they scored now. Some of them passed. Most of them didn't. They didn't beat up on themselves. Like, even Denise, she had huge growth because, we'll get them next time. You know, like, they realized they benefited from this process. And then really the defining moment for me was, like, Gills is like, they failed. Like, you know, we needed this percentage of kids to pass. They didn't pass. They failed. To which then Shoop is like, wait a minute here. You know, like.
Yeah, it takes a closer look at the scores.
Yeah, we're watching kids go from like 34 to 68%. Like, this is huge. So he's basically saying, show me how this is failure. To which Kelvin agrees, like, God taught his butt off. Like, you know, grants him tenure. He then has dinner with Robin, who apparently he hasn't spoken to for quite a while.
For however long this time jump was. He's got a big beard right now.
What? So does she.
Yeah.
Wondermutt lost Bob, this like severed doll head in the ocean. Bob comes back. Robin and Shoop make out really, really close to the water, to the tide line. It's like,
but they redo the kiss from Here to Eternity.
Exactly.
It's like the exact same beach, the exact same everything.
It's pretty cheesy. It's like, you know, but whatever. You know, it's just like, can we go out for dinner? She goes, oh, we'll talk about it over breakfast. Like, oh, she's coming over for breakfast.
Shwing. I'll see at 7 a.m.
Let's meet at Denny's.
Moon's over my hammy.
And that's summer school. I talked about that a long time.
Oh, you enjoy this movie.
I do.
It's you were excited about it. I'm not going to cut you off on something you're excited about.
That's fair.
All right, hey folks, Oz and I are going to each give our own unique rating to the film we've been yapping about, 1987 Summer School. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give it an A.
That makes sense.
It's a school. It needs a letter grade. So what about you?
I'm going to go with a 70%, which was Dave's passing score.
Oh yeah. Who was your favorite student?
Oh God. The Larry bit was funny, although
it was funny.
Really inappropriate, but it had a fun payoff. It's hard not to like Chainsaw and Dave. I know that's the easy answer, but
there was a fun bit where Chainsaw had a nightmare.
Sit on that one for a moment.
Okay, fair enough. Go for it.
Hey, folks, next up in our series of comedy bits is Outside Insights. Folks, Oz and I have been scouring the interwebs searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. Oz, what's your Outside Insight?
I've got 3 very short ones, so bear with me. The first one is a 1-star review from Big Collector. He says, I didn't get past the first 5 minutes. That's the review title.
Okay.
When a high school doesn't have a student younger than 18, I lose interest. A school should have kids in it. This one does not.
Who were these people?
Have you not seen an 80s school-based movie before?
Yes, they're all in their mid-20s. That's how it worked in the 80s.
This movie wouldn't work if you had a bunch of 15, 16-year-old kids in it.
Yeah.
Because they look miniature. Yeah.
They don't need anybody to tower over the staturing Mark Harmon.
I don't want to see a true 17-year-old do the Larry role. That would scar this kid. My second one is a 2-star review. I've never understood how can you distinguish? It's you either like it or you don't. People are like, yeah, I'll give it a 2. It was
just good enough.
Have a hard time believing a teacher would cover up. That's the title.
Okay.
Have a hard time believing a teacher would cover up a student's use of alcohol, especially on a public beach.
Private beaches, whatever. They write their own rules there.
And this is a 5-star review from Rippin' Lips.
I think they opened for Whitesnake last year.
They did. I don't know if this person saw the same movie we did. 80s comedy at its best. No political correctness like good comedy should be.
Oh God.
Yeah, here we go. First line. Plenty of TNA like you'd expect from a good 80s comedy. Kirstie Alley is smoking hot in her prime.
Smoking Kirstie.
Best of all, there is no contrived wokeness or political correctness being forced down your throat.
Who is this person?
Rippin' Lips. This movie was made during the last era when we still had a little free speech left in America.
Yep, no free speech left.
As a result, this movie actually had an interesting plot that keeps you interested. Can't say that about today's movies like Disney's Star Wars. What a yawn fest that was. Z's. Yeah. I've seen this movie probably more than Rippin' Lips. I don't remember any TNA.
No.
Larry's the closest you get.
That's right.
There's even Denise stops the TNA in character.
Yes.
No, girl. So, yeah. It's one of my favorite parts about this movie is that there's still was some free speach left in America.
Yeah.
Before we used it all up.
That guy stole one of my goods. This movie doesn't have any wokeness to
it. I love the lack of woke.
Yeah.
Oh, those are my 3 outside insights. What do you got?
All right, I got one, and it's literally one sentence. And this is not me chopping it up. It's literally one sentence was all there was. From the Internet Movie Database, this was left in July 2021. 10 out of 10 review by Bevo, which I think was the offshoot of Devo.
Yeah.
Woof is the subject line. Another great movie involving a dog that doesn't die, unlike Marley and Me.
Oh, the guy hates Marley and Me and ruins Marley and Me.
I like any movie that in which the dog doesn't die.
Another great one. Old Yeller, not a favorite.
I mean, there doesn't even have to be a dog in it. It's just as long as there's not a dog that dies.
Exactly.
I love Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. No dogs dying.
I love it. Oh, so is All Dogs Go to Heaven his favorite or least favorite movie?
Yes.
Okay. Toxic Avenger, no. Toxic Avenger 2?
No, can't stand
yes.
Yes. Give me Toxie 2 any day.
Reefer Madness, love it.
Yes. No dogs die in that movie.
Chairman of the Board, top 10.
Can't get enough. Biodome.
Manos Hands of Fate.
All right, folks, at that point in the show you've all been waiting for, our signature segment, the 3, 2, 1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about this week's movie, 1987's Summer School. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
My first one is that substitute horror scene.
Yes.
I loved it as a kid. It's still just fun. You see it as much as I've seen the movie. You're just looking for little things like, other little bits in that scene. So that's my favorite part of this movie. 2, I know that there's a lot of naysayers in education. In any field, you're going to have both sides of a fence. I'm on the growth mindset side of things. And so I really like that message in this movie of like, hey, success isn't measured over whether you can jump over a hurdle or not. Success may be measured in how much closer are you to jumping over said hurdle.
Yep.
And so that is my second good. And my third is that throughout this shoot, he treated all of his students with dignity.
He did. He really did.
There wasn't, and being from all different walks of life, especially with him really setting the stage early of being that like, oh, I'm just kind of the aloof, lovable PE teacher. You would think he's probably got a pretty short leash with a kid like Ekian or Chainsaw and Dave, who probably don't excel in PE. But he's cool with it. Like, he treats all his kids with dignity, gives them all a chance for success, and we see where it goes. Yeah. So those are my three goods.
Let's see. My first good is just a quick moment. It's it's early in the movie. They're at the amusement park, and Alan is vomiting into a garbage can, and his legs are off the ground. And it's one of those garbage cans with the lid that comes kind of open. Yeah. It's like the opening, you have to like push it in. So he's literally up to his waist in the garbage can with his legs just poking out the top.
Yes, as people are walking by looking at him. I love that too.
That sight gag was hysterical. My second one, this is what I cut you off on a moment ago. Chainsaw's his nightmare sequence. And it's what I'll actually, even though it's my good, I'll let you tell it just because.
Oh no, you go for it.
Like, he wakes up in this dream, and it's like this idyllic family setting. Yeah. I also love how his parents call him Chainsaw, which they also do in real life.
They do it too, yeah.
But it's just hysterical. And,
because it's the day of the test.
Yeah,
and everything's going excellent, except he doesn't know anything. Yeah. What do you want for breakfast? I don't know. Like, what day is it? I don't know. Like, what's your name? I don't know. Like, I can't remember. It's something like he doesn't know anything. And then like he wakes up screaming at his parents, come running in, Chainsaw, what's wrong? And I can't remember. Like a dream. He forgot his dream. Yeah. So it's I do. That's a good one.
They call him Chainsaw.
Yeah. Good morning, Chainsaw.
And then my last good, I'm actually going to echo one of your goods. In that some kids just need one caring adult.
Mm-hmm.
They just need somebody to believe in them unconditionally, without judgment. Someone who's just going to be there day in, day out consistently. And you and I have worked in education in a long time, my friend. And we know that sometimes we or just someone at the school is that person's is the most stable, consistent person in that kid's life.
And for you teachers out there that feel impatient, this benefit is a long game for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't necessarily go and be on your best behavior because you're trying to make a difference in Shannon's life. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I've had several students over my career I'd cross paths with 6, 7, 8 years later. And that is when they're like, you know what? I remember what you said back in 7th grade.
Yep.
And it clicked. And for a teacher, that's what I mean by the long game. You would love, like in a movie, they don't have the time to play the long game. You see it all come to fruition like immediately. Like you get a movie like, what's that Michelle Pfeiffer movie where she goes into that?
Dangerous Minds.
Yeah, you get that where it's like she comes in and makes that impact in weeks and everyone's better for it. Or, same with like Dead Poet Society. Like in a movie, it has to be short term. In real life, it may not. No one may ever tell you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Sorry to steal your thunder there, but I agree 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely good things to be taken out of this movie. So yeah, those are my 3 goods. Hey, Az, what are your 2 bads?
Don't move a student into your home.
Yep.
Just don't do that. Male, female, doesn't matter. There are processes where that can occur. I know I've worked with teachers at an elementary level in the past that I've got a friend now that is a teacher that is fostering one of her students. And there was a teacher I worked with several years ago, also a kindergarten teacher, that was fostering one of her students in an effort to give that kid some stability. They were in her class. Then they got word that, well, we're going to have to put him back in the system because grandma can't watch him anymore. So then they would take him on as just an effort to be like, I've seen the growth that you've given, I've seen the growth that you've had. Like, But it's different when you're fostering a 5-year-old and you're going through the proper channels of doing so than it is to just open your door. Even if her brother and sister-in-law were cool with it,
that doesn't matter.
No. And I don't care that Courtney Thorne-Smith was probably 24. It's still no. His heart was in the right place. His brain clearly was not.
You don't do that.
No. So
like, you don't give kids rides these days, let alone let them stay in your house.
No, the only times I would is like if we were coaching and there's a kid that didn't have a ride, the first call I would make would be to the principal. Hey, I'm letting you know, is it okay if I take this child home? Mm-hmm. Let them know that this is happening. You're aware of it. And then I would talk to the parent. I'd tell the kid to call your mom. Is she coming? No. Can I talk to her?
Yeah.
Can I give your son a ride home? It was always a son because I always coached boys sports. Yeah. But my second is, I kind of mentioned it earlier. There's so many pieces. This isn't how education works.
No.
No. You don't dangle tenure over somebody who's potentially earned it just because you want to box them into a situation that benefits you. It's just not how education works. Sure. There's a lot. As many good messages come out of this movie, there are just as many that could lead someone astray as to what the American education system's really like.
Well, clearly the foreign language or the foreign exchange people,
they learned
something. Yeah.
So those are my two bads. What do you got?
My first bad, I'm actually going to kind of just ride that wave that you just said. A little more specific of an example, like Robin and Shoop are clinically diagnosing Denise with dyslexia. And although they may have definitely spotted something, they're not trained psychologists. And I know I'm being very nitpicky here.
But you're right.
Like, that's not your job to do it. Yes, it's your job to pay attention. It's your job to observe things. It's your job to refer.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said it because, I mean, to be fair, teachers are often some of the first ones to recognize that it's there.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done. But they're just straight, no, she's dyslexic.
Yeah, collaborate with your team.
Yeah, maybe she's Russian. Like, maybe those letters are backwards because it was a called third strike. I don't know.
And my other bad is Kirstie Alley's acting was not.
She gave it her all.
I don't think so.
This movie's about the growth mindset, Curtis. Think about how bad it could have been, and how much better she got.
Well,
it's not.
Yeah, and even the whole Robin character really doesn't have a whole lot of a point.
Just to be the love interest,
basically. It. And to be someone for him to like bounce professional ideas off of, someone to like get him back on path. Like he could have done that himself. Like the Robin character had very little point, and Kirstie Alley's performance in this pointless character was reflective of that. So.
If we keep the Robin character, who would you cast to replace Robin? Not today's world, but obviously then.
I mean, you mentioned Michelle Pfeiffer a moment ago.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
I could see a Michelle Pfeiffer there.
Yeah.
Kim Cattrall.
Maybe.
That wouldn't be my first pick, but
sure.
you took my first pick. But but 87, I mean, you've got a lot of people to choose from.
Yeah. Just not Kirstie Alley.
Yeah, she came cheap.
Yeah.
Shelley Long.
Yeah, Shelley Long would have been great. Rhea Perlman.
Shelley Duvall.
George Wendt.
There you go.
So those are my two bads, Oz. What's your
That first meeting in the auditorium where all the kids were given slips and they had to listen to Gills talk to them about going to summer school. Mm-hmm. There were a lot more kids in that room than there were in Shoop's classroom. So I guess my question is, in the world where they're all taking remedial English, to be fair, they may have been taking other subjects. But what happened to the rest of those kids at that summer school meeting? Some of them waded in and out. Like the guy who was controlling the hand in the horror scene, he was in the meeting. He was in the first day of class. He wasn't the one that went to the bathroom. It's like some of these kids would occasionally be there, almost like the table in the conference room of the office.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's in the room, sometimes it's not, but it's a huge table. So where do you put it when you're not using it?
Yeah.
Like some of these kids are like, well, if we need the extra kid on set, we'll put him there. It's like, what happened to all these other students? Because there were a lot in that summer school meeting.
Yeah.
And Shoop's the only one teaching summer school. Because they were like, you got to teach summer school. You have to. Nobody else is doing it.
They're all in AP history next door with Kirstie Alley.
There you go.
But the security guard had to tell them they were.
Yeah. That's right. He also, SRO, again, delivers slips to let you know you're going to honors over the summer.
It's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, it's a one-man job. So what's your hunt?
How come Dave didn't get a cool nickname?
I agree.
I
agree.
I mean, like, Chainsaw, was it Francis was Chainsaw's first name? And his family was all about it.
Yeah.
What's wrong, Chainsaw?
Chainsaw and Dave.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think Dave got the short end there.
He did.
Poor Dave. Although Dave did pass the test, too.
He did pass. So there you go. Well, he didn't have that nightmare.
Yeah, which Chainsaw was initially upset. Why'd you pass, man?
I'm sorry. I'll try again. I'll do worse. I did enjoy those two characters.
Yeah. So why doesn't Dave get a cool nickname? Poor Dave.
Yeah. So
that wraps up summer school.
That's summer school. What do you got next week?
Next week, we're going to go forward a little bit. We're going into the late 2000s to a movie that I have not seen.
I have not either.
This movie is the...
How long is it?
It's 500 days long.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's a long one. Well, we're watching 500 Days of Summer. So, yeah, we're going to check that one out, Oz.
I've not seen it.
I have not either. I know.
I hope on one of those days they vote for summer.
We'll see how it is. It's one of those movies that's been on my curiosity list for a long time. And yeah.
Is that what Joseph Gordon-Levitt
and Zooey Deschanel?
Okay, I knew there was a Deschanel in there.
Patreon subscriber Melissa L can't stand Zooey Deschanel.
Oh, I don't think I've seen enough of her stuff to form an opinion.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. She also doesn't like Natalie Portman. Like she doesn't. There's like an actress type there that.
Yeah, kind of. I could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind Natalie Portman in the right role.
Correct.
I think because there's times where I've seen Natalie Portman, like when she, I don't know, she did like a SNL digital short piece.
Yeah,
and
the hip hop piece.
Yeah, and it's like it was fun, but it's like that's not how I don't like my Natalie Portman that way. Like, I don't know, but again, I like that.
Did you ever see the movie Your Highness?
Yeah, I did.
Wasn't she in that?
Yes.
She.
And you could tell they had a lot of fun on that set.
Yeah. It didn't exactly come together as a film, but
no, that movie was terrible.
Yeah.
a little too much Danny McBride.
Yeah. Danny McBride comes from the Jack Black school of don't overexpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like if you don't screw the cap of the Parmesan cheese on tight enough, and you're pouring some on your pizza, and then the lid comes off, and it dumps all of it on there.
Mm-hmm.
So you ruined your pizza. I don't care how much you like Parmesan cheese, you ruined your slice. That's Danny McBride.
I wasn't expecting that analogy, but it worked. It worked very well. Well done, sir.
Thanks. With Jack Black, it's more like the crushed red peppers. Even if the lid is screwed on tight, one shake more than necessary, and
your mouth is on fire.
Yeah, you ruined your slice.
Yeah. So we'll check out 500 Days of Summer. It's got a 7.7 on IMDb. As we'll see if it's worth.
Let's
worth
see
the rating.
If I think so, that's what I'll rate it. 7.7. Well, that wraps up another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks. We will be back next week, like you said, with 500 Days of Summer. We'll try to crunch all 500 days into just like an hour.
Yeah, we'll whittle it down.
Right. It'll be like a montage episode. But social media-wise, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, link down below so you could become one of Don's dames or one of Don's dudes, whatever.
Don's dudes. Hey, my dudes.
Hey! Yeah, we get too many of these. Don's going to have to take a nickname like Gator or something.
Gator?
But yeah, he's got quite the stable going here.
Like a pro wrestling manager?
Sure.
Like Bobby Heenan, he's got Greg Valentine, he's got the Honky Tonk Man.
That's right.
It's got Demolition.
It's the Don family. All right, so whatever.
Yeah.
Heenan never had Honky Tonk Man. That was Jimmy Hart.
Oh, sorry. Mouth of the
That's
South.
And Demolition wasn't. They were Mr. Fuji. So whatever.
I stand corrected. At the time of this recording, by the way, it's Mr. Fuji's birthday.
Wow.
If he was still alive. I noticed that earlier today.
Well, happy late birthday.
Yes, yeah. We mourn the passing of Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Aloysius Fuji. So, all right. 500 Days of Summer next week. Come back.
Please.
Please. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week.